Hi everyone, today we're on Module 2 of Level F of VMath, whole numbers and decimals. This is Lesson 9, so please turn to page 33 to follow along and take notes. All right, are going to be rounding, because this is about rounding decimals. So we're going to do some practice rounding. And remember, we look at the number, so we're going to round to the tens place here. And so then we look at the number behind it, and it is an 8. Well, if the number behind the number is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, which it is an 8, it is going to round that 7 up by 1. So then we would say 300, and then this number turns to a 0, 80. So it rounds up to 380. This time we're going to round to the thousands place, but we got to look at the number behind it, which is a 3. If it is a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, then that number just stays. So we would say 5.14, and then the 6 stays, but then those turn to zeros behind it. Here, let's try again. We'll round to the hundredths place. Well, we look at the number behind it. It's a 9, so we know that it rounds up by 1. So we would say 1.6. Those stay the same, but the 0 is going to round up by 1 to 1.61. And then you can put the zeros behind it if you would like. All right, we are going to round to the nearest ones on this. So we look at the number behind it. The number is a 9, so that means it rounds up by 1. So it's going to turn to a 5 point, and then all those just turn to zeros. Here we're going to round up by, or we're going to round to the nearest thousandths place. So we look at the number behind it. That is a 4. So that means that the 2 is going to stay. So 0.002, and then the rest of those will turn to zeros. It stayed because it was a 4. The 4 does not round it up by 1. All right, this says round the weight of each package to the nearest tenth of a pound. So when you look at the tenths place, the 2 is in the tenths place. So we look at that number behind it. There is a 5. Well, if a number is a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it will round it up by 1. So that means that that would go to 3.3. This number rounds up by 1 digit. Here we have 1.42, so we're going to look at the fours place. We look at the tens place. The number behind it is a 2. Well, if it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, then that number just stays. So we would say it is rounded to 1.4. Here we have a 0 in the tens place, but behind it is a 6, so that means it goes up by 1. So 5.1 is how we would round that up. All right, now it says round each decimal to the nearest to the place value indicated. So we're going to round to the nearest hundredths place for number 6. So the hundredths is the 8. So the number behind it is a 4. Remember, a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it stays. So that means it will stay at 2.18, and you can put the zeros behind it if you'd like. Here, number 7, we're going to round to the thousands place, which is a 3. We look at the number behind it is a 5. Well, remember, if it's a 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, it will round that number up by 1 digit. So that means it will be 0.00. It's going to round up by 1 to 4. Now again, you can put the zeros behind there if you'd like. You do not have to. Now we're going to go to the tenths place. That's the 0. The number behind it is a 2. Well, since it's a 2, that 0 is just going to stay the same, so we can put 5.0. And I don't need to write all those other zeros behind there. You can if you want, but I'm going to leave it at 5.0. All right, this says using or rounding decimals, use symbols. So we're going to round 10.25638 to the nearest thousandth. The thousandth is the 6, so you identify the digit to be rounded. Then you determine whether the digit to the right is greater than, equal to, or less than. Okay, well, 3 is less than 5. Or less than 5. Then it says keep the number the same if the digit to the right is less than 5. It stays. Eliminate the digits beyond the place value being rounded. So you don't need, like they said, you can add those zeros if you want. You do not need all those zeros though. Then it says you're going to identify the digit to be rounded. So we're going to round this number to the nearest thousandth. So here's the 7, that's in the thousandths place. Determine whether the digit to the right is greater than, equal to, or less than 5. Well, 8 is greater than 5. So then it says round up if the digit to the right is greater than 5 or equal to 5, and then eliminate the digits beyond being rounded. So this would be 8 and 518 thousandths because that 7, the number behind it or to the right is an 8, so that rounds up to an 8, so 8.518. All right, now you're going to complete page 35 on your own. Take your time, use a place value chart if needed. Good luck.